Hey guys, welcome back to Jury Rig Garage. We're going to be doing some work today on the Mustang. So I've been working with S&H Performance. You guys saw the alternator line install. Also the fuel pump is S&H Performance. It's a 405 liter per hour fuel pump, just a drop-in unit that you can buy from them, and a line upgrade to the fuel rail. And talking with him, he was gracious enough to send me some Dash 8 fuel lines and a inline fuel filter. So today I'm going to be showing you how to install all new fuel lines on your Mustang. It's going to be pretty simple. It comes in like 3 pieces, comes 2 lines and then the filter. You can also put an inline fuel pressure gauge, which is cool. This is the returnless system because my plans are to basically just maintain the returnless system as long as I can. I'm not going to be pushing any crazy power with the Mustang. Probably at most like 600 wheel horsepower, which I hear is usually when it taps out. And with these upgrades, you know, like the fuel pump wiring kit, and the fuel line system like this, the full Dash 8 line, which is 1/2-inch lines, should be able to push it pretty far. So pretty excited to do that. We're going to start by just lifting up this side. Basically, we're going to need to remove the back seat, remove the driver's side wheel, open up the hood, and then that should give access to everything that we need. Hey guys, before we continue, I just wanted to talk about the benefits for a system like this. So with the returnless system, swapping from the 3/8 to 1/2-inch or Dash AN fuel lines helps in a lot of different ways, helps lower duty cycle. It just removes restrictions in the fuel system. It's 3/8 all the way through. There's, you know, many points of failure potentially as well. Removes rubber lines and hard lines, just full straight hard line all the way through. Lowers the fuel pump's duty cycle as well as prolongs its life. So it's a really good, cheap, bang for your buck mod you can do. Super easy. It'll only take a couple hours to do, even quicker if you're fast with it. But yeah, just wanted to point out, you know, the benefits to it. I already have a fuel line upgrade, which does help too. It's even cheaper, but going the full extra length, full effort, you know, 1/2-inch lines all the way through, definitely a really good mod to do. So just want to point that out. Also, appreciate you guys watching. Love seeing the comments. Definitely subscribe. Our goal is to hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of this year. We're right on track for that, so please, guys, subscribe. Also, we have a Patreon if you're interested. We have lots of behind-the-scenes content, so be sure to check that out. Alright guys, so we got the Mustang up. I have 2 jack stands on the frame rail. Also have my jack on the ground. I guess I should have taken the wheel off to kind of properly show you, but this is where you kind of need to take your car. So I removed the intake and throttle body because the fuel line disconnects down there. I'll show you closer up once we're ready to take that off. And then in the back, you just need to remove the rear seat here. There's the access hatch. And then this is the fuel line right here. It's black and rubber. And then on the underside, it converts into a hard line. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some paper towels in here to absorb any gas that will inevitably leak. Pull this off. There are 2 push tabs on the side. You can get on either side. With your fingers, push them in, down, and then up. And this should remove. I'll show you that in a second so you can get some paper towels. And then on the bottom side here, I'll have to get a light, but this one on the far right, that is the line. It'll have a fuel line indicator right there. We'll say that. Just need to unbolt some of these pieces to get under there to remove it. And then this whole tray right here houses the fuel filter. I'll show you that. You just have to remove this, just a bunch of 10 mils. And then out to the front, remove your tire, and that's about it. It's pretty easy. So I'll go ahead and show you. So just like that, I just got 2 fingers on either side of these tabs, pushed in and pulled up. And there's the top of the filter, or sorry, top of the fuel pump. This is the feed line. Not much gas actually came out, so that's good. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and push the fuel line back and down. Now everything in this side is pretty much done. We'll also have to get the new fitting on and line through. All right guys, so got it disconnected up top. You can see it moves much easier here, but there are still clamps and whatnot I need to remove. So 13 mil, 10 mil, these are all 10 mils down this way. So I'm gonna go ahead and start removing them. Another thing about this tray, this covers the fuel filter. Like I mentioned, a lot of people opt to not reinstall it. I prefer to reinstall it just so it's covered. But I mean, totally up to you if you want to keep it. It's not important, not super important, but it does cover the fuel filter. Also, chances are you might even just break one of the fasteners, so you can't reinstall it. Oh yeah, so now you can kind of see up here, this fastens the fuel line all the way up and through into the fuel filter. This is actually new. So you'll undo that, pull it out, and then the rest of the lines will come through. So up a ways, up towards the wheel well, there's the last bolt that holds this in. I'm gonna go up there, remove it, get this out of the way, then we can disconnect these lines. Don't need them anymore, remove them. So this section goes up to the fuel pump, and this section up here goes up to the engine. So go ahead and start removing that. All right guys, so I removed that trim piece up here exposing the fuel filter. Also removed the bolt holding that on. So these fittings are exactly like the ones that were up in the interior. They disconnect, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. So the tip is to just push both of the tabs in and then push it against it. That'll release the pressure and then allow you to easily slide off. So I'm just gonna disconnect this. This will drain a lot of fuel, so be careful. Wear eye protection and have something to catch the excess fuel. And you'll probably get some on your hand. There it is. But no big deal. There we go. There you go. It took a little bit, honestly. I had to disconnect the brackets up here so I had more maneuverability. Now we can just pop these guys out the bracket. I'll take 2 hands. But now this section back is good to remove. We can put in the new one and we can secure it. And we can also get the new fuel filter up in the spot where the old one was. Now we just need to disconnect some more fittings holding this section on. Sorry, this section right here. And then remove the tire and inner fender well, and then pull the rest up through the engine bay. Alright guys, so I removed the wheel. Now we can get at the inner fender liner. There's just a couple of clips you will need to remove. This is not the proper tool. We'll probably go grab it, but yeah, this is aftermarket. You don't have to worry about that unless you have one of these flaps. But there's clips at the top and the back, and then it should just pop out. And then you should see the fuel line coming up into the engine bay. It'll sit on the opposite side of here. You basically just need to unclip it, and then on top of the engine bay in there, unclip that section, and then this section that goes back to where that fuel filter was should be able to come out. Yeah, checking underside, there's this last clip that needs to be removed, and then it can be pulled out. And up here, and then on that line there. And it does look like it bolts in with this, so this actually might need to be trimmed or cut to be removed fully. There's that right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting on that, pull it out, and then we can start running the new line. All right guys, unfortunately could not show that part of disconnecting the fuel line in the engine bay. Basically, let me see if I can get a light in there. You can see I poured some gas, but right up in there, let me see if I can get a good light. Right up in there, you can see the fuel line is disconnected. I'll have to point to it on the screen. I'm getting really bad angles. But disconnected there. I'll show you the tool that I used. I ended up using this blue one. It is a 3/8 line, so this one should have fit, but it was too big. I'm actually not a fan of these type of fuel line disconnect tools. I'm a fan of these ones. This one is too small. This is 1/4 inch. I can't find my 3/8 one. But basically, this just goes on the line. You push up in it. You push the fuel line down into it. That releases the tension, just like those other tabs over there, and then it should pull off. So now that that is disconnected, I can pull it out over here. Could even disconnect this here. Just pull it up. Probably not the greatest idea. There's some gas in there. We'll just let that dry out. But yep, that is the line right here that I had to disconnect. Like I said, there's a metal line that goes in there. How to use that tool to push in there, push them together, and that disconnects them. So now that is disconnected, I'm gonna go ahead, we can just remove this metal tab. We'll save that. And then it is the same type of thing. We just have to get one of those on here, push in here, push them together, and this should pop out. So I'm gonna go grab a little tiny bowl to catch any excess gas. So this is the type of tool that I'd recommend getting for disconnecting fuel lines. I found these work the best. They allow equal pressure on the line, whereas those ones, when you put them on, unless you have your fingers on there and you're pushing on this, there's leverage and just cockeyes it. It doesn't work very well. So this is a 5/8 line. It'll just push in together, like I mentioned, and then it'll disconnect. So I'm gonna see about staying at the camera. Use this Dutch can to catch the gasoline. Okay, that's coming out. So this is the fuel line right here. That's the side that came out from the rail, and this side is the one that goes into the fuel rail. The kit supplies a new fitting like this. This just goes into the Ford style fuel rail and a new loop. So now we just need to remove the last section that came in from here. So this one, since it's disconnected up top, we'll just need to remove this bracket and then unbolt the plastic clip retainer that has those come out, and then we can start putting the new line in completely. All right guys, so I was actually able to get a screwdriver in between this bracket and separate it so the fuel line can go in and out. Be able to remove it. You can actually get a better view of the top of it that I did disconnect. Then down here just has this last retainer, and it should be able to come out. Yep, there we go. Catch some gas. Still gas in the line. You can purge the line by running it and removing the fuse that powers the fuel pump, but it's not going to get all the gas out of it, so I just skip that step. It's not a big deal. So now that this is disconnected, just need to work on getting this clip removed. You can see that is right there. I also need to remove that tab that holds it in, and it's completely disconnected from this end right here and can come out. There you have it. So from the fuel pump down through, inline fuel filter, up into the engine bay, and then from the engine bay to the fuel rail. So that is all the fuel lines. Yep, had to just disconnect this. I'll bend it back in place and then reconnect it. I'm not going to put the new fuel line through that, but it's going to continue the same route up. So let me show you guys the new fuel line. So they're new, so it's kind of hard to keep them straight, but there's a fitting that will go onto the fuel pump. This connects to it, comes down. Inline filter, kind of same area. We'll be able to modify it to hold this new inline filter. And then from there, we'll come up into the fuel line, where we'll have a new fitting exactly like this. Goes right in, so less points of failure. You can see how many joints and connectors there are, and then it'll just be straight -8 all the way through. So I'm going to go into the cabin here, get the new fitting on. I'm probably going to route that side up first, up through the bottom, just so I can secure it, tighten it on, and then plug it in. All right guys, so I got the fuel line in here. First things first, I'm probably going to push this end of the line down through here, just route it so I can get it in place. This part right here that got 90 degree, that's what connects to this. This just fits straight on, no additional modification. I'm gonna get these tight first and then push it on. All right guys, so we got this fuel line up in here. Tristan and Vince came back with some food and they were able to assist me, so I would recommend a second person. Basically, someone would just need to hold a flashlight up here, shine down there so you could see it, and then under the car, push it up. You'll see the light, push it up there. It's easy to grab. And now that we have this up here, I can get the fitting on, get it connected, pull it down and tight, and then we can continue on with the fuel line installation. So don't want to bang up or scratch any of the lines. I was careful with this one, so yep, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on. Just get some tape on. I did this on the other fuel lines, so it should be fine. I believe AN fittings don't really need it, but I've done it on the fuel line just in case there's no leaks. So I'm gonna get that wrapped, put it on, and then secure it on. All right, guys, so I got this line down here. This is gonna go into the fuel line, or fuel filter. And then on the top side, I had vents assist me kind of route it through. But I have this line in the U that goes into the fuel rail. Got Teflon tape on that. Just routed back as simply as I could, straight down the hole where the old one was, right here. I'm not gonna reuse this old bracket, it just wouldn't fit. Just tidy up everything. I'm probably gonna get zip ties on things, and then meet this in the middle with the fuel filter right here. And yeah, this thing should fit in there just a little bit with some, I'd probably get some like electrical tape around it so it holds it, and then tie it all down. We're about done. We're gonna tidy up, put everything back together, and then prime the system before we lower it, just to make sure there's no leaks, and then we should be good to go. Should also mention in here, as you can see, I had the bend come up and then I have it coming out. So it's kind of like a T. It's all secure on there, all tight, and there should not be any leaks. It's all on perfectly fine. So I will update you once I have some more progress. All right, guys, it is getting kind of dark under the car, but I got the fuel line all in here. I just wrapped some electrical tape around the filter, just so it fit snugly in the holder there. Now I have Teflon tape on there. I have the new line here, attach it, and then I'm going to tighten everything down so we can give it a test with priming the system. All right, guys, so I have the fuel line all up and tightened from the fuel pump all the way back here. I'm gonna go ahead and prime the system and check for leaks before I put everything back together. It's an important step. You don't want to put everything back together, turn it on, and see that there are leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and prime the system and check all the connections. Should be all good to go with no leaks, but just want to double check it. All right, guys, so I primed the system. I did have a leak right at the filter. I didn't tighten the one coming from the fuel pump into the fuel filter very tight. So I got a vise on there, tightened it up, dried everything, and tested it again. I'm not getting any leaks anywhere. Completely dry in here. You would see it quite a bit. There's a lot of pressure coming through there. No leaks back here. It's completely dry. And then under here, where I said there was a leak, I got it all dried up. And it's looking pretty good now. Primed it several times, and no more leaks. So I'm gonna go ahead and tie everything down, get zip ties on things. There's quite a bit of slack on this side, but no big deal. I'll just get this tied up and out of the way, put the covers back on, and then get it on the ground and give it a test drive. All right, guys, it's getting pretty dark. Once you have all the cladding installed and your wheel installed and the fender well, you can lower it. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the intake, plug all the electronics back in, give one last test with the priming, and we'll give it a start up. All right, guys, just took the Mustang on a test drive. Worked perfectly flawless. Smelled no fuel behind me, you know, and that's where the fuel pump is. Took it around. I did have a fire extinguisher with me in case something did happen. I'd pop the hood, turn off the car, you know, spray it, but wasn't anticipating any issues. I did test it like 1 trillion times, making sure that there was no leak or anything like that. Drove it probably like 15 minutes, brought it wide open throttle, no problems. And then just parked it, checked all the lines, everything. Everything is completely dry to the touch. There's no gas anywhere, no smell. I gave it a lot of sniffs under the car and in the engine bay. Couldn't smell any gas, so really awesome. So yeah, I mean, this is the best bang for your buck mod you can do for a returnless system. I mean, past the fuel pump, obviously, but it lowers restrictions all the way from the fuel pump to the fuel rails, lowers duty cycles, prolongs the life of your pump, just makes it much better. And I recorded fuel pressure before and after. We'll see if there's any difference. I mean, if we were doing like a legit data log session, I'm sure you'd see tons of improvement. But yeah, just want to show you guys this is the old dirty fuel line system and pump. This is a good upgrade as well. It's cheaper than the full system. S&H Performance sells it. I have this as a spare, might sell it, you know, hit me up if you're interested. Might keep it for future project or something, you know, it's in line for fuel, so pretty good. And yeah, it was super easy to install. Literally, you just have to get one side of the car up, disconnect the fuel lines, just route it. I mean, it's easy, just like start from one side and work your way up to where you terminate it. So also one of the added benefits is the high performance fuel filter, easily serviceable when the day comes. I mean, I probably service it probably like 30,000 miles. I'll have to ask Jeremy to see if there's any specifics on when the fuel pump needs to be, or the fuel filter needs to be replaced. But all in all, super easy. 1/2-inch lines all the way through. I do want to keep it on a returnless system, but down the road, if I do need to go to a return style, now I have a full -8 line all the way through that I can use. Pretty sweet. And I would just have to install another return line, but this is for the returnless system. That's how I'm going to try keeping it. Works great, and hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below.